So before we talk about bypassing the upcoming Android developer verification, we first need to understand what it is. What exactly is Android developer verification? So this is a very critical topic because firstly, you have to remember one thing about Android. If we consider the iPhone, it doesn't have much freedom, but Android does have that freedom. Why? Because we don't just get our apps from the App Store or the Play Store. Most of the time, we download various apps from different websites. This can be signed APKs or unsigned APKs. So I will explain the difference between signed and unsigned APKs, but the point is we install these third-party applications. Even though Android gives us a warning, we can still choose to install and use them. However, when it comes to signed and unsigned APKs, there is a key concept here involving a public key and a private key. I will explain what these are, but first I want to give a comparison between the situation today and what it will be in the year 2026. First, imagine that I'm a developer. I have created a piece of software or a game. To do this, I have to generate a key, either a private key or a public key. The important thing is that as the developer can generate this key, as a developer, I can generate this key myself. So after creating it, I can choose to get the app verified on the Google Play Store. But right now, that's not a strict requirement. So what is changing in 2026 and 2027? Here is where things change. When 2026 arrives and our devices are updated to the newer Android versions, and even the Android versions we have now will get these updates, you won't be able to just install any app from a third-party source anymore. Why? As a developer, I generate my public and private key. But when you try to install my app on your certified device, the device itself will block the installation. This security check won't even require an internet connection. Even if you turn off your internet to try and install the app, it won't work because the system will already be verified. So every legitimate app will need a verified key from Google. If the key the developer generated doesn't match the verified key Google has on record for me, my app will be blocked and you won't be able to ignore the warning. This policy will start rolling out in 2026 and will be fully implemented by 2027. So what is certified and uncertified devices? This new policy is very strict. It will primarily affect certified devices. For an app to be installed on a certified device, the developers identify and their development key must be verified with Google. So what are uncertified devices? These are devices that don't come with Google Play services, such as many Chinese mobile phones on this or custom, for example, like custom OS. On these uncertified devices, you will likely still be able to install apps through site loading. So what is site loading again? As I'm saying that where you would download APKs from third-party websites or something like that. Now the problem, personally, I think, is a lousy policy and sad news for users. We know that many useful apps are not found on the Google Play Store, and frankly, many apps on the Play Store are bad, and that's why most of us download apps from other websites. Google claims they're gonna do this for our security. This also creates a huge problem for developers. A developer will not want to go through bureaucratic steps and submit all their information to Google for every single app they create. Furthermore, Google might not approve many apps even if they are good, simply based on their own internal rules. This means many modded APKs and useful third-party apps will no longer be installable on standard certified devices. So what are the bypass methods we can actually going for? So what potential bypass methods we can actually follow? So even with this new system, you will still be able to download an APK from a website, for example, Sideload. So even if it's not on the Play Store, however, the app must still be signed with a key that is verified by Google. So how could this be bypassed? Number one is stealing a verified key. If a malicious actor steals the identity and verified key of a legitimate developer, they could use it to sign their app. However, if this is reported, Google can block that key. Number two, using a virtual emulator. So this is the most practical and likely solution for most users. I'm using a virtual emulator called BMOS Pro here. So within an emulator like this, you can install any applications you want, third-party apps, Chinese apps, etc., because it runs a separate and sandboxed environment. Emulators are how most people will likely continue to use this app. There will some limitations. Not every app or game will work properly, but it's a viable option. There's a catch actually. The developers of the virtual emulator app itself will need to be Google double verify. Otherwise, you won't be able to install the emulator on your phone in the first place. So, okay, number 4 is that if your device is rooted, you can bypass these restrictions. However, rooting modern Android devices from major brands has become extremely difficult. Even when you unlock the bootloader from the developer option, many phones now require an additional verification step through the manufacturer's official service, making it a major hurdle. So my further to summarize it is that the main bypass methods will be like using virtual machine, using a custom ROM, or having a rooted device, which is becoming harder. And then unlikely scenario of using a stolen developer key. So ultimately, this feels like a loss of freedom. I brought the phone. It should be my choice what to install. This new policy makes it feel like we don't truly own our devices. This is official news from Google's developer pages with a clear schedule. The rollout begins in regions like Brazil in 2026 and other countries, with a global enforcement in 2027. For this reason, 2027 will be a horrific year for Android freedom. It feels like there's no hope left for the open Android we know, or maybe it's time to look at alternative like Linux. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment section, and see you next time.